Hi friends, Dean here with Escape to Gaming. Today I want to do an interesting vlog or discussion on some of the pitfalls on modern games or modern gaming. I just saw an interesting kind of a debate this morning between the Dreamcast guy on YouTube and David Jaffe, who I've been following on Twitter, God, forever. He's one of the first game devs that I followed on Twitter years ago. And he has his own interesting YouTube channel. He streams and does a lot. He likes to get into really heavy debates with people from everything from politics, religion to game development and discuss gaming. He's a very interesting, outspoken fellow. And I think the world of him. He's one of my favorite devs from the Twisted Metal days. In fact, I remember tweeting him or talking to him back when this game was new and telling him how much I like it. He seemed so disappointed because the online was having problems. And this is one of the last games, along with Need for Speed The Run, that I played online and actually did good at this and enjoyed the online gameplay. And then that was pretty much it. I had a lot of problems playing online as well. And to me, the negatives outweighed the positives, and it was pretty much over. But this was in the heyday when I was really into online gaming and really enjoyed it, mostly racing games. From the Forza games to Twisted Metal, and like I said, some of the Need for Speed games. But Jaffe's an interesting person. I think the world of him. Again, I'm a huge Sony fan because of his involvement with the Twisted Metal series, which I've loved since the beginning. Very interesting fellow. He's also known, of course, for the early God of War games as well, which I have some of. I haven't played them yet. I'm anxious to at some point. So he likes really kind of gritty, very adult, kind of M-rated games, the concepts of them, and that's fine. I'm the same way. Not everyone likes violent games, but he made some interesting points, and the discussion, I'll have a link for the video below that I saw, this Dreamcast guy. In fact, that's actually there's much deeper, longer discussions that go on for hours that Jaffe's done very recently on his own channel. In fact, I'll have a link for his channel as well down below, where he really gets into talking about gamers being entitled, like entitled whiny babies. And I don't never like labels. I don't think you should lump everyone in one thing. Gamers are this or they're that. Gamers are people. People are complex. We all have very intricate tastes of what we like and don't like. I'm a gamer, but my tastes in games are probably quite different from many of you out there. And vice versa. I mean, we all have certain genres and types of games and mechanics that we like, whether it's PC gaming or some people just play indie games and they don't like AAA games. Other people, that's all they play. If it's not a AAA game, they're not interested. They have to play the best, nothing but the best. I've never been that kind of a person. In fact, I find more solace in playing games that aren't well received than I do quite often the AAA games. I have had more fun with these. And these are the glory days of games. When games were finished, you bought a game for $50 and it was a finished product. Now I think there actually was one DLC thing you get. Sadly, it's not available anymore. There was like a pack where you could get like an extra guy and even better, like level 4 weapons, and that's unfortunately not available. But there was some DLC back then, not a lot. Like I've been playing Test Drive Unlimited. There were a lot of car packs and stuff. I don't know if they're still available, but I have no problem with that kind of DLC, And I've always said, if you don't like it, don't buy it. Jaffe's kind of said the same thing, And the Dreamcast guy was kind of going at him. He really was very anti-loot boxes and microtransactions. And Jaffe, was trying to bring reality, bring him down to earth and say, look, I mean, I'm a liberal socialist, very much like yourself, but at the same time, I voted for Bernie Sanders. I'm very much, I'm basically a liberal, but at the same time, I don't want the government mandating and dictating what we can and can't have. And so he feels that gamers are they want the government, Big Brother, to step in. I don't like the fact that there's, in the next Devil May Cry, there's going to be loot boxes, and I really want to play the game. I want the government to take those mean loot boxes and microtransactions out of the game. That's kind of how Jaffe was saying it. It's a somewhat condescending tone, obviously. And that's going to agitate a lot of people. I mean, there's a better way to talk to people about things. But for the most part, I actually agree with him. I think that it's a slippery slope. Once you get the government involved, that's part of, like Jaffe says, in a bigger, I've seen some bigger interviews that he's done, or his podcast thing, or his streaming, where he gets into discussions with people and callers and people in the thread and the streams, and he'll discuss interesting points. And he's talked about this at length lately, about loot boxes and how he feels that we should not limit that there's some good dynamics to them. And again, he's okay with them in the way of cosmetics, which I am as well. I mean, they've got what is it? I just saw Far Cry 5. Now, I haven't played it yet, but you can buy money cards. Now, they have a lot of expensive items. A lot of the guns are like 7,000, units or credits or dollars or whatever they are in the game. And it takes a long time to grind and make the money up just to buy like one gun skin or a helicopter or, a car with a turn or whatever. So they make it towards, it's very appealing to just want to buy $20 worth of microtransactions just so you can buy some of the shit that you want instead of grinding endlessly forever and ever for it. I can understand that. I mean, I'm not real big on that myself. I've actually bought, I think I bought, was it Need for Speed Rivals or one of these? I bought like a Time Savers pack because I wasn't thrilled with the game, with the progression system of the game, and I just wanted to have the option to jump into any car I wanted. So I bought some DLC. I think I bought some of the Ferrari packs for this, and I might have got, is either this one or maybe one of the older ones. I got like a Time Saver pack just because I don't want to sit there. Maybe it was the 2012 Most Wanted. I wanted to be able to play any car that I wanted. I didn't want to have to grind for 50 hours to finally get to play with the kind of class of car that I wanted to play in. So there are times where I don't have a problem with it if it gives me something that I want. Now I've never liked the ones where it's like a pay-to-win thing, where I guess the Star Wars Battlefront, which is a really hot topic earlier in the year, a year ago when this came out, it's been just about a year since this came out, there was a shitstorm of problems over this. In fact, I got this from my neighbor. I painted my neighbor's fence. I had like a 5-gallon bucket of paint. I did it for free for him. And he said, well, Dean, I want to do something for you. I want to buy you a game. So he bought me this game. He knew I loved Star Wars. He saw my game room, saw that I didn't have this one and asked about it. And I go, well, I wasn't going to buy the games. I didn't want to buy it just for the campaign. He told me he only paid $20 for it brand new. So I've yet to play this. But for the campaign, I'd do it. And I probably would pay $20 just to play the single-player campaign. In fact, I watched some reviews of this last night, which I hadn't seen a whole lot of reviews of it when it first came out. And apparently now, several months ago, they've patched it to now you can do the space battles. Instead of doing them online only, you can do them in arcade mode. So there's a lot of additional things. EA has done it for free. I think there's like an additional story chapter. You can play this Resurrection DLC story or something. So there's a lot of extra shit they've done to this, and they haven't charged. They immediately backpedaled, ripped out the microtransactions for the pay-to-win aspect of it. The problem is it fucked up and just jacked with the whole progression system because they built a whole progression system around the cards and the gambling system that's in this. That I'm not a big fan of. Again, I don't play the online multiplayer, so it doesn't really affect me. But it kind of did when I noticed when I played Need for Speed Payback. What's funny is these came out real close together, both from EA. And they both had this gambling kind of card system thing. And I kind of preferred, like with Need for Speed Rivals, you could just go and you could upgrade your car with the points or credits or XP, whatever the hell it is. You could, have a better heavy-duty chassis. You could have better handling, more top-end, faster acceleration. Real generic cast. You could pick and choose precisely what you wanted, and I prefer that. Now, because this had kind of a Las Vegas theme to it, it was kind of in and around a kind of a fictitious Las Vegas, it kind of fit the theme, and because I've never really come across these type of gambling not microtransactions, but just a progression system to build your cars up the way you want, to make them faster or to upgrade your cars, you have to use their gambling system. And I could see where, and they immediately backpedaled on this. They changed it to where you only had to grind like 50% as much to get unlock the things that you wanted. So they quickly changed. I mean, right after launch, this radically changed. In the time that I bought it and played it, I was noticing changes in the way that the game was playing. Even the fact that the refresh rate of how fast, you only didn't have to wait as long for the store to reload a new set of cards to choose from. Now, Jaffe mentioned in his comment, he said that when he was a kid, and I agree with him with this, we had, you buy like baseball cards. You didn't know what was going to be in the baseball card pack. Usually came with a stick of gum, came with a few cards. And they've been kind of showing that in new Fallout 76. They have this very similar kind of thing where it's like gambling and you just take a chance. You may get a good card, you may get a bad card, you may get a couple good cards and some bad cards. So it's kind of an exciting element. It's like a box of Cracker Jacks. You buy the box hoping to get the toy that you want. It's not always a toy. Sometimes it's a crap toy. Sometimes you get something good, you know. For me, it was wacky packages. Back in the 70s, like 1972 to 74, they had these things called wacky packages. I think Topps made them, or I forget what company it was. And they were kind of these Robert Williams-esque type drawings where they'd mock, instead of the game Monopoly, they'd show a cutout of a box, and it would say it was called Monotony. And it shows a little guy on the Monopoly box like falling asleep or sawing logs, and it was just fascinating. They had instead of Downy, which was like a fabric softener here in the U.S., they called it Drowny, and they showed a baby going down in this with towels down the washing machine, going down the drain, and they were just really funny, tongue-in-cheek, and I absolutely loved them. The first time I ever got caught shoplifting was in 6th grade, stealing a thing of wacky packages because I was obsessed with getting them. Sometimes I'd buy them. I'd scrape up some money or mow some lawns or whatever, get some money to buy some, and I spent all my money on these goddamn wacky packages. Quite often I end up with the same ones over and over, and I had a couple friends that had them, and I'd trade them with them. So I was obsessed. I remember one time we just moved to this new town, I didn't have any money, and I remember going in this little store, and I got busted stealing. I got one of the worst beatings I've ever got in my life, and to this day I've never stole anything since then, because I learned my lesson, that stealing is not the way to get what you want. So I can certainly understand kids today, how they get credit cards to pay for the microtransactions. I have no idea. What are the parents letting them use their cards? Are the kids hackers and going and hacking their parents' Bank of America account? I mean, I don't know how it works. Or their Discover card thing, or I don't know how they're getting the money to buy the microtransactions, but this is what they're saying. The government needs to put something in place so that people won't buy these. We don't want the microtransactions. We just don't want them at all, But the thing is not all of them are bad. And my thing is, if you don't like them, don't buy them. I've never bought them for Need for Speed Payback. I found that the system in place, I'm not thrilled with it. I prefer just knowing I want to just buy the turbocharger, not have to hit a slot machine to spin for one. I'd rather buy the ECM or whatever I want from my car, the exhaust or the suspension mod or whatever, and not have to gamble on it. But that's the system they have in place. So because I was just so happy that this was offline versus the 2015 one, now that's a good example. The 2015 one, I voted with my wallet. I said, no, I will not buy an always online rental that's going to be here today and gone tomorrow. I think you can probably still play the game online, but for how much longer? Another year maybe, and that's it. You'll be stuck with this fucking coaster and pitch it across the room. That's the end of it. So I wouldn't buy it. And I've consistently said I'll vote with my wallet. Same thing with Battlefield 5. I don't like their attitude about telling me I'm uneducated and that I don't know what I'm talking about, that we're going to put this in place and we're going to be more inclusive, and women, what am I going to tell my daughter and all this stuff? If you don't like it, then just don't buy the game. Well, you know what, EA? I'm not going to buy it. If someone gave me the game, I will not play that game. I'll give it away, I'll sell it, I'll clean up my cat box with it as a poop scoop, whatever I have to do. But I will not play that game because of that. I don't care how great the graphics are. I don't care how great of a job DICE has having created the destructible environments. I will not be a party to that kind of a deal. I don't like EA telling me, well then fine, don't buy it. And it looks like I'm not the only one, because a lot of people have had a real problem with it. It's kind of a shame, because I bought the last several Battlefield games. I'm very happy to have these games. And I've got Battlefield 3 and Bad Company 1 and 2. All of the ones that have an offline campaign, even if it is only 4 or 5 or 6 hours, I buy them because I like it. And I've played the first couple stories or segments of this, This is a great game. I'm not real elated with the World War I setting, but it's a very nicely done game. I like the concept of having little individual stories is interesting, but the fact that this pandering so much to different races, to females, I mean, it's just right down the line. No matter how you feel about it, I, for one, do not like them making a politically correct game. Even the new Ubisoft says from here forward, all the new Assassin's Creed games are going to have a woman and a man, both genders represented in every game. So even at the cost of storytelling, God forbid we tell a story about a man playing through an adventure. Now it's like we got to have one of each. So, and in a way, that's not such a bad thing. That's actually one of the things that I do find appealing about the Assassin's Creed Odyssey is at least you can pick and choose. If I was forced to play as a Cassandra chick or whatever, I wouldn't get the game. But I do like what they're doing with the game. I like a lot of the new things that they're implementing. I love the big open world. I love the kind of the history of ancient Greece. I think it's fantastic. The day will come where I will get that game and play it. I mean, I still have yet to play Black Flag, which looked very intriguing. Even though I'm not an Assassin's Creed fan, I love the concept of it. And I bought that game day one at full price. I've even got the hardbound strategy guide to go with it because I really like the fact they were finally making a pirate game. I love the pirate concept and the Caribbean and the open seas and all that. That's fine. But I'm getting nervous with the point where we're seeing, for the sake of political correctness and everything's going to be inclusive now. We got to have every handicapped people and women and every type of person and minority available. And I think they're trying to tick off all the boxes to look good on some corporate level. Like the Nike ads or whatever. It's not something that I'm interested in personally. But again, I can just simply not buy those games and vote with my wallet. So I'm having to find it a little bit harder for me personally to find games that I feel comfortable playing and immersing myself with and spending the money to buy and play today. But there's always something. So far, it looks like there's something for everyone. I think that's fine. Even Rockstar, who makes wonderful games, the fact that we never got any additional Grand Theft Auto 5 single-player DLC really bothered me. I mean, I really thought after you get the, Grand Theft Auto 4, you got the story of Gay Tony, and then you've got the Lost in the Dam DLC, huge, wonderful, story-driven, narrative-driven expansion packs. It's a shame we didn't get that for the offline game. But they saw how much money is in, frankly, the microtransactions and the shark cards and, all of the special themed adventures and fun packs that they've got in that online community. I mean, I don't have a problem with it because I don't have to buy it and play it. I don't. It's that simple. I don't. But if you want to play those games and play them online, that's great. Now, Red Dead Redemption 2 does well online, and eventually they'll sell probably cosmetic things or maybe fun adventure packs. It's great. I just hope that they'll add some for the single player story. It'd be nice, but like even Jaffe mentioned, that's Rockstar's prerogative. They can spend the rest of their life deciding. No one is forcing them to make the games that other people want. They make the games that they want to make. And if they see something as profitable, they're going to go after it. And Activision and EA clearly are going after what's profitable. I'm not a fan of the loot boxes. I mean, from what I understand, that even the single-player story, I think, is like are centered around these star cards or something. So, I mean, I have no idea what I'm in for playing this. In fact, I want to start this tonight. I'm really anxious to play this. I've been sitting at my coffee table for a couple weeks now, and it looks good. Just for the campaign. And I know there's a lot of fan service and there's problems and plot holes in the story and everything. I'm sure that it's not great, that they probably cut a lot of corners and it's fairly generic and it pays a lot of fan service and all that. But it's still, as a Star Wars fan, I'm really anxious to try it. It's a shame that they've ruined the online part of it with the progression system tied to these goddamn loot box things. I mean, now the first one, I wouldn't pay full price. I bought this for less than 15 or 20 bucks for the deluxe edition, brand new. But I waited 6 months or a year or whatever, because I wait till after they made the skirmish modes available, kind of like the arcade mode in this, where you can play all of the multiplayer maps offline. Sadly, the Bespin And the Death Star ones are not available in a skirmish mode offline, which is really tragic. But once I saw that this had value to me, then I spoke with my wallet. I go, okay, now I'll buy it. Now that you've made something more than just a tutorial. I mean, they had initially some offline little kind of like tutorials to go into each of the sections, but it wasn't the same thing. But since when they did the skirmish modes, I said, okay, now I'll buy. Now it has something for me. I can go in and play on Endor, play on Hoth, some of the levels, and get that Star Wars feeling, with a blaster in my hand, or lightsaber, or whatever. And I like that. So, but I see more and more that this is the direction EA is going. EA actually came up with these, with their microtransaction things years ago. I think 2008 or 9 or something, with the FIFA game, where they could pick out special teams, the special gold teams or whatever, with these special cards, and you could buy and build like the killer team, and it really was an early pay-to-win model. So they've been at it longer than anyone. They came up with this concept of loot boxes or microtransactions many years ago. So, and you can see that the problem is that people buy them. Look at Rockstar, how many of those shark cards and stuff they've sold. I mean, billions and like billions. I can't even wrap my head around the figures. So it's like if the market the market bears that. That's what it's supply and demand. If people are willing to pay for it, believe me, they're in business. They're not in business for love. They're in business for money. They're going to go after the money. So it's sad that guys like me that like the offline single player campaigns and experiences are getting compromised in the process because of greedy microtransactions. Again, I don't have a problem with buying the gun skins, or for me, I like to buy car packs, like Forza 4. My God, I spent a fortune. I bought 2 or 3 season passes, and then I even bought some individual car packs. And I've only done it with a few games. Some games I've bought extra weapons and stuff. I can't remember the names of them, but I've bought a few microtransactions before. Usually DLC expansion packs, extra weapon packs. Oh, Hitman Absolution, I think I bought some weapon packs with some really cool weapons and stuff. But it was like a couple bucks, $5 or whatever it was, and I didn't think it was that bad of a deal. But, people have to pick and choose. I made a decision early on with Fallout 76. I saw the direction it was going. I love the Fallout series. I was heartbroken that they didn't make that game an offline experience. To me, if they're smart, they take that same world they've already created and they would find a way to make that whole game offline with quests, putting NPCs in, human NPCs, coming up with factions and divisions like they did with Fallout 4, and at least turn it into, don't waste that world you've created with all those great enemy types, but make it a polished offline experience and salvage it that way. I think would be an interesting idea. I haven't heard anyone else say that, but that's my take on it. That's what they should do and try to salvage it. It's a disaster. And it shows you, and I kind of have to wonder if their card system and perk system they have in place was put in there to where they saw what EA was doing, and they can all of a sudden slip in these packs where you can quickly ante up and level up by rolling the dice and hoping you get the card packs that level you up faster and get the weapons you want, or improvements or whatever. So we're in interesting times. Again, I don't think that the government should be involved in that, because what's going to happen, like Jaffe said, he's an excellent point, and I watched some more of his videos on his own channel, and he really drives the point home that once you go down that slippery slope, then what's next? People are going to start complaining games are too violent, and you can forget about getting violent Twisted Metal games. I mean, look what happened with Manhunt. Rockstar raked over the coals. I don't know how profitable this game was for Rockstar, but I doubt we'll ever see another Manhunt. What's funny is that this game is mild compared to Mortal Kombat XL and many other games that I've seen. Probably even that new God of War game has got more hardcore violence and beheadings and stuff than this. But back then, Rockstar was the big target, of these, again, groups that were trying to get the government to impose this. And look what it almost did. They were going to have an adult-only rating, which Rockstar could not do, and to get that M rating on there, they had to take 34 elements of the game and radically change them to make it get the M rating. So this game is like heavily compromised because of it. I don't want the government messing with my games. First it'll be over too much violence, and they're going to say you've got to include more diversity, you've got to have this, you've got to have that. And my God, what you're going to open a Pandora's box to a nightmare. And as a libertarian, as someone that believes in freedom, and even a free marketplace, you just can't have that. Look, I'm a business owner. I have to abide. I had to get a California state contracting license. I had to go to a school and take a class for a weekend on the business aspect as well as my industry, of the painting industry, to where I knew the rights and wrongs of it. And I have to adhere to, I can only ask for so much down up front. I have to deliver what I have in my contract. If someone finds a loophole in my contract, they can exploit it at my expense, and I have to take it up the ass and to do it. I had a cop, of all things, that screwed me out of $6,500. And I had to pay back the money after he took, I painted all of his cabinets. He took my product, he benefited from it, took it, and then I found out he had done this to many other contractors. But you know what comes around goes around. I could have taken him to court. I tried to go through the California State Board, but he found a loophole in my contract, found something where I didn't cross the T's and dot the I's like I should have, because I found out him and his wife are both lawyers, and he found a way to screw me out of the money. So I had to pay him back the money, and he gets free cabinet painting on top of it. So, and you just have to let it go, you know. So, and that's what's going to happen, you know, with Bethesda. They're going to have to take it up the ass and probably do the right thing. If they're smart, they'll give people refunds. But if they, you know, at the present PR and marketing and what they're doing right now is not good. With that $200 collectible, how they screwed people over the canvas bag and switched it with that cheesy nylon bag, and now they're telling people, here's 500 atoms, you know, to get a beehive hairdo with microtransactions, basically. I mean, that's going to come back to bite them. Bethesda's better take a serious, hard look at their fan base and their future as a developer, and they better do the right thing. So, to me, there's a right way and a wrong way, and as gamers, Jaffe's right. We vote with our wallet. Take your wallet, decide, and be consistent. Don't say, I don't want to buy this game, I don't like the microtransactions, but I guess I'll buy it anyway because I want to play Devil May Cry. Well, then you're part of the problem. I've said it before, then don't buy the game. Stand firm on your convictions. That's what I did. And it pays off. You know, I feel good that EA is getting fucked with this Battlefield 5, that their sales are down, you know, 50% or more. They've already discounted the game by $35 now because they fucked up. And it serves them right. The rate they're going, their stockholders, their stocks are dropping. They've got it coming to them. Part of it's greed. Part of it is an arrogant attitude towards their customers. We made them who they are. We made them rich. And you can make them poor by not buying their games. You've got to vote with your wallets. Don't expect the government to do it for you. I'm not a socialist in that respect. You know, as it is, I can't even, because of this tight laws and over-regulation, I can't even afford to hire a helper in my own business at 55 years old. I got to do it all myself because they make it so impossible. I got to go through so many hoops and provide insurances and workman's comp, and because I'm in a high-risk business with ladders and heights and stuff, it's almost impossible for me to hire a helper at $15 an hour. I end up having to pay like $34, $35 an hour for that little employee, part-time or full-time. I can't be profitable, not in my industry. So I have to do it all myself. It's tough. It's not easy, you know. And even though I'm a capitalist and I believe in free market price, and I could just go out and hire an employee. Dean, why don't you just hire a bunch of employees and have them do it? I've never felt comfortable exploiting other people's labor so I can live in a big fancy house. Or it's not me. I feel responsible. I couldn't sleep at night if work gets slow and I can't keep, you know, my employee Johnny working, and I know he's got a wife and a kid at home, and I'm sorry, dude, I got no work for you this week and next week and the week after, and you know, I couldn't sleep at night knowing that his future is dependent on me, and I can't keep him busy year round, you know. So it's just, there's a lot of stress with me in that regard. I don't want to be a boss or be like an entrepreneur and have people under me. I'd rather just do it myself. I've always been that way, very self-reliant. And it bothers me when any company exploits people for cheap wages so that they can become wealthy or become high off the hog. That's one thing that I personally have a problem with, even though I am a capitalist and believe in the free market, you know, free enterprise system, which I do love America for. Thank God we have it, but Look what's happening in the UK. I mean, you got to be careful what memes you say. They're going to start cracking down on YouTubers, what they say or what they don't say. And we're these very dangerous Orwellian times. And I'm just hoping that, we can, at least in America here, we're going to hold out as long as we can and have the freedom to play the games we want to play. If I want to play a Manhunt 2, in Australia, I don't think they could get this game. I know they're real funny about violent games over there, and they radically censor what the gamers can play or not play, and so they got to like sneak these games in illegally or something to play them. I mean, I don't like that. When this Mass Effect, I've heard so many great things about this. So when they came out with the new Mass Effect Andromeda, I go, well, instead of playing this, I think I'm just going to play Andromeda. Just think of it. It looks awesome on the PlayStation 4. I saw some early gameplay. The graphics looked really good, minus the horrible facial animations and what have you. But I did like the sci-fi dynamic to it. It looked very vibrant, HDR, and looks great on the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X and all this. But when I saw how that game was heavily compromised, just with a lot of the political crap behind the scenes with the developers and what they were pushing, and making the females ugly and looking, unattractive as possible. A lot of things about that game I didn't like. So at the last minute, and I mean the last minute, I canceled my pre-order of that game and didn't buy it. I'm glad I did. It's a shame, because it probably, even aside from the weird animations, it probably has some good times to be had in it. But certain things I don't like, and I don't expect everyone to understand my personal feelings. But at the end of the day, I vote with my wallet, and I told people that in some early vlogs around the time that game came out. I said, I'm just not going to get the game. I don't like when I heard some of the devs talking about what they wanted in the game, what they didn't want in the game. The kind of anti-white people stance that some of the developers that worked on that game had taken. I said, I don't want to be a party to this. So I voted with my wallet. I don't know if I was the only one. I guess the game didn't do well in sales, but I'm not sure why. I don't know if that was because of problems with the game itself or game bugs. I know there's a lot of weird videos I've seen with real strange glitches and bugs and animation problems with that game that are hilarious. Where maybe the game was rushed, it wasn't as polished as it could have been before it was released to market. But at the end of the day, you've got to vote with your wallets. That's all I'm saying. Don't expect Big Brother to do it for you. We can send a signal to these devs and to these companies that, look, we will not tolerate this shit. Right? We can do it with Bethesda right now. I love Bethesda. I'm new to the Fallout series. I've only played Fallout 4 and a little bit of Fallout 3, but I'm dying to play Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas. It looks great. The Skyrim game, I don't know if I'll ever play it, but it looks like a fantastic game. I like the fact that they've got new gen versions out, so if I ever decide I do want to play it, I can play it. That's great. But this direction that they're going, I don't know if I have a lot of faith in their new Starfield game. That's the one I'm really looking forward to. They're going to use the same kind of crummy, old, dated game engine that supposedly just works. I mean, I don't know. I don't know much about Todd Howard. He seems like a likable fellow. I mean, but you got to wonder with some of the blatant, overt lies that I've seen. And I've seen a lot of videos on him lately. It's concerning. But I voted with my wallet. I said, I'm not going to buy that game. But again, I did it for my own reasons, because I'm not into seeing an online MMO kind of a Fallout game. I really don't want. I think that's a bad direction. I mentioned that in one of my recent videos. And to me, just the concept alone is horrendous. There's no end game. Angry Joe did a pretty interesting review of it and made some very good points about how there's no end game to it. It's just a lifeless world. I mean, the game is very badly broken. A lot of strange, bizarre things in it. It's just a shame, because the world they created looks great. Again, they should make that into an offline game. Take all that assets, all that hard work, and really make that the next Fallout 5, but with all new shit in it, all new quests and factions, and kind of like Fallout 4. I would buy that game. That's a game I would buy. Hopefully not chock full of microtransactions and loot cards and loot crates. Who knows, but it's interesting times. The new Call of Duty game, I voted with my wallet. Now, that game is doing quite well. I just won't play it. I'm not into this whole, the Battle Royale thing and all that. I'm just not my kind of a deal. But it's fun to watch. I've watched some good streams of it. I'm glad my friends are having fun with it. But if they decide to return to one that has a 4 or 5 hour campaign, I'm enjoying the World War II campaign of the game they did a year ago. It's a lot of fun. I'm dying to finish that campaign. The problem is I'm going to do too many games going at once. I got like 5 games I play at the moment. Playing Godfather 2. I mean, now I'm playing all of these, I mean, in the garage for days now, just playing nothing but these Twisted Metal games. I'm going through all these Need for Speed games because I'm going to be doing a Need for Speed retrospective soon about my feelings and thoughts on the series from the beginning. And it's amazing just going back and playing these and how much fun, the memories of how much fun I had in the serious time I sunk into these and how the series has changed, and frankly not for the better. And it's like, oh, what did they do to the series? The series started off so good, you know, and it's kind of like sad to see it going down the wrong hole. Now we don't get good single-player Star Wars games anymore, sadly, you know. So it's everything is compromised for this goddamn online shit, you know. And it's like, and the fact that they killed off that, I don't know if it was Visceral Games that was doing the single-player Star Wars thing. It's just so tragic. It's like with the success of God of War and this Horizon Zero Dawn and all these other big single-player games, don't you think a single-player Star Wars game, and you leave the loot crates and shit out of it, just make a nice, straightforward game, just like Uncharted. They should have left that woman, Amy Henningway or whatever her name was, Hennings or whatever. They should have let her continue making the game that she wanted to make. You can see she's bitter. She left that company and goes, look, you guys are tying my hands. I can't make the game that I know will be a successful game that the fans would love. That's tragic to me. So, you know, EA, I'm not the future of their games. I'm going to take a hard look. I may not get the next Need for Speed game. They're one of the only series that I like from EA anymore. They've ruined the Battlefield series as far as I mean, I don't see it changing. I think it politically will just get worse. Sadly. I don't even know that we're going to get much in the way of, you know, campaigns anymore with that series. So I don't know that I'll be playing any more of the Battlefield games. But, you know, I vote with my wallet. I bought this Duke Nukem 3D World Tour. And I bought this, I don't have it here, but I bought the Bulletstorm, the one that has a Duke Nukem in it. Because I was hoping that maybe Gearbox will make another Duke Nukem game, where they've got the rights to it, you know. And even if it's not a great game, I'd love to see another Duke Nukem game. If it isn't destroyed with political correctness, which I'm terrified it probably will be. But that's why I bought this. That's why I bought Burnout Paradise. Everyone whines and complains about remastered games, but frankly, they're a hell of a lot of fun. We need more arcade racers. You know, and the fact that they brought this out means that maybe they're thinking of returning to the Burnout series again. And I want to support that. You better believe I bought this day one to support these devs. And yes, please, give us another one of these EA. It's a great franchise, you know. I bought that Road Redemption game recently because EA won't do anything with Road Rash, so I took a kind of a cheesy indie Kickstarter game and bought it, and it's a lot of fun. I played it the first couple nights I had it. It's fun. It's not as polished and nice as, frankly, some of the earlier, you know, my memories at least of playing those early Road Rash games, like on the PlayStation, you know, PlayStation system in '95. But it's still fun, and that's why I invested and bought that game, even though it's only digitally. It's why I got the LA Noire. I voted with my wallet because it's like, yes, I want to see a sequel to this or something similar to it. Please, you know, I'll support this game again. I'll buy it again, even though I already had it. Now, the fact that it was only $40 to me wasn't that bad. I know people want, oh, it's too much money. Should have made it $20. You know, it's like, look, these companies are in business to make money. So I'm not blind to them. I don't have a problem paying them my $60 or $40 or whatever. Just deliver something good. Just have a finished product. This did have all the DLC, and it has several new game modes, 3 more sets of collectibles. They did give you more. They give you a lot for your money, and it looks really good on my big 4K TV. It looks wonderful. So, you know, again, I haven't had a chance to play this yet, and I haven't played the Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and I'm not sure how I'm going to feel about the microtransactions and stuff in this game. But I'm not the type to buy them for progression. I won't buy like the money cards to buy in-game items. I don't care about having a red, white, and blue M16 and all that stuff. It doesn't matter to me, that kind of stuff. I do like getting some of the cars or helicopters and stuff, but I'll just grind for them. I'll just, learn how to exploit the hunting XP and stuff in the game to make more money, and I'll figure out a way in-game to do it. Jaffe had an interesting point, too, where he was talking about even the games themselves, that aside from the loot boxes, because he's really anti anything that is like a pay-to-win, he's very much against. He doesn't mind like skins and people want to get their fun skins or get something fun or interesting. He doesn't mind. He doesn't even mind like the loot boxes where you're kind of gambling, rolling the dice to see what you might get. He sees the fun in that. Like I said, look with the bubble gum, baseball card thing. It is kind of fun. There is a fun to it. I don't like having to do that. I'd rather just pay specifically for what I want. I prefer it that way, but you can see the direction with the mobile games. They're seeing how much money they can make with that, and we're going to get more of the same. I think in the future, where games are not going to be necessarily what we may like or want to see, so we're going to have to really pick and choose, and it's going to be tough, but we can really send that message home with our wallets, clearly. But Jaffe was saying that he even has a problem with leveling up, like you can in Fallout 4, by leveling up with your perk systems to such a high degree that you can blow through the game and easily. He thinks that even that's kind of a form of cheating, which is an interesting point. I've never heard that point made before, but he likes game mechanics where games are on an equal playing field. He says it'd be like playing chess and all of a sudden someone's leveled up, even without microtransactions, or now their queen, the queen's eyes shoots out laser beams and it's got machine guns and it can take out your rook and knight. All of a sudden, it's like you're changing the dynamics of the gameplay itself because of a leveling up dynamic that's put in the game, which I've never heard that before. It's interesting because a lot of the games are built, and even Assassin's Creed and Odyssey is built on leveling up. You can't get to certain portions of that game. Same thing with like some of the high enemies in Fallout 4. If you don't level up, I went in there and I advanced my perks with Fallout 4 so much. I got the Thompson machine gun. It does like double damage. Plus it does this, it does that. So I can take down those Murloc queens like nothing. Those death claws are nothing. I mean, like 3-4 seconds I can take one down like nothing. And I think the game almost got too easy and got boring. So based on that, I can kind of validate his point. That's an interesting point. I never really thought of that, but as a game developer, he plays a lot of games, and it's interesting to see his perspective on games. I would suggest checking his channel out. It's a very interesting exchange he has on his streams. He likes to debate and get into things with people. He's very outspoken, little crude, but he gets his point across, and I agree with a good portion, with the exception of his views on politics and religion at least. I agree with a good portion of his concepts and theories and thoughts on game development today and where it has been in the past, and how hard it is to make games and get them properly tested and everything. It's pretty interesting stuff. But anyway, that's my views on it, guys. I know many of you are not into the microtransactions and hate loot boxes. And again, I agree. I'd rather not have them than to have them. I don't mind some in-store purchases to buy some cool weapon skins or cars or guns or whatever. I don't have a problem with that. Or seriously, I have no issue with like story expansions. I love those, like the Ballad of Gay Tony or the Lost in the Dam. I think those are really worthwhile expansion packs. That kind of stuff I don't mind, as long as they aren't taking it out of the original game and then selling it back to you. You'll never know. I mean, you'll never really know what was originally in the game and what's not. I don't know. But clearly games, as they're staying the same price, it seems indefinitely, they've got to get their money somehow. So I understand it, but I don't necessarily like it. So I have to pick and choose. And I suggest you do the same thing. Use your wallets, vote with your wallets, be consistent, and don't hesitate to tell the devs how you feel about it, Tell them how you feel. I've talked to Turn 10 Studios that does the Forza games. And I told him, I said, please take out these drivatars or at least make them optional. I've probably 5 or 6 tweets I've said, it lays on deaf ears. They never do anything about it. But at least I know I can sleep at night knowing I've done something about it, because someday they could change it. and all of a sudden they're going to make a Forza where they don't have driver tires or they're optional, I'll be all over that. I'll go out and I'll buy an Xbox One X like that, and I'll get it. I scared Vinny, he just bolted out of here. And I'll get it based on that alone. So we all have the things that are idiosyncrasies of what we like and what we don't like in games. And we got to decide. So let me know in the comments how you feel about it. How do you feel about microtransactions and/or loot boxes? Do they bother you? Does it keep you from buying a game? Do they disgust you? Do you feel like you have no place in gaming today? Can you understand why they're put in games? I'd be curious to hear your comments on it. I certainly like interacting with my friends in the community. And to me, that's what YouTube is all about. I don't do this for Patreon or for money. I'm never going to advertise. I'm never going to, go on Patreon. This is always going to be just me talking freely. And I like to be part of the community based on that. To me, that's what YouTube's all about, not about making money off it. I mean, nothing against those that want to try to make a living off it. If you can do it, that's great. But it's not easy, so... Those are my thoughts on it anyway. Let me know in the comments how you feel. You know I enjoy interacting with you, and I really appreciate the support and kindness. Thanks so much for watching, and no matter what they are, enjoy those games.